The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.
Hello there, a warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and in the company of Paul Keeley and Brian Shearing, as well as from Paddy Power, Frank Hickey. We will be looking ahead to the last ever running of the Hennessy Gold Cup. I'm sure it'll be known as the Hennessy for about 30 years, but officially one of the longest running sponsorships in racing comes to an end, and it is a dazzling conclusion to their link with the race. Really, really good stuff. I'm sure Keels and the boys have got some top tips for that. We've got the Fighting Fifth up at Newcastle, which really is interesting as well. Some great stuff over in Ireland. Goran Park features invitation only. Kitten Rock, David Jennings' favourite horse, is running, so thank goodness he's not here to spend 10 minutes telling us about that one. And then on Sunday, we've got a feeling that Gordon Elliott might win the Troy Town at Navan. He's taking it quite serious. He's got 11 runners, so the boys will be picking through that as well. We'll have our best bets, top offers from Paddy Power and more. But let's start with the Hennessy. Takes place at 3:10 at Newbury. Smad Place. He's aiming to retain his title, become the first horse to do that. Theatre Guide was second last year. He's back. But Native River is the favourite. And before we get the boys' view, let's hear from Colin Tizard, the trainer of Native River.
Yeah, he's a horse, you've got to stoke him up all the way. Richard Johnson sort of does that brilliantly. He stayed on, as a good hurdler. We were just having a look. We didn't want to go to the Hennessy without having a run, really. And we didn't want to put his handicap up any higher. So he's had his run. He can go to the Hennessy. Off a 154. It's going to be lovely, isn't it? His favourite. It's still got to be one, but...
I tell you, he's the most laid-back guy, isn't he, Colin Tizard? He's only got one way of speaking. Whether he wins or loses, he's just so calm. Really great temperament and really doing well, Kills, isn't he? Is Native River a worthy fav?
Yeah, I think it's probably the right fav. I've just got a little bit of suspicion that last year's staying novices weren't up to much. I mean, I'm particularly sort of against the RSA because... You know, obviously, No More Heroes broke down and more of that went wrong. So I'm not sure that is that strong. And then, it's not very often that, a horse that ran in the 4 miler at Cheltenham goes off as, as favourite for a race like the Hennessy. So I'm going to look against all the second season chasers this year, and I'm going to go for a couple of upsets. But I think Native River probably is the right fav.
OK, let's get a show of betting from Frank Hickey of Paddy Power.
And Native River is 5-1, Untomsport 2, 7-1, Smad Place, Black Lion, Safford Daru, Henry Parry Morgan and Vita de Rock are all 8-1, and it's 16-1 bar.
Kills, I've got a feeling I know who you're going to tip. Is it you're going to keep faith with good old Houblon?
Well, Houblon, I actually put him up in this race 2 years ago, backed him at 33s and went off 50s and finished second.
He ran really well, didn't he?
He ran really well. He ran into the subsequent Grand National winner, Many Clouds, didn't he? So, if he's in that sort of form, he's on a lower mark. He's got Charlie Deutsch on taking £5 off. I think the cheek pieces woke him up again last year because he lost the plot at the beginning of the season. He ran terribly. He was only 8-1 off a higher mark for this last year, and he ran absolutely appallingly. But like I said, the cheek pieces woke him up. He won the Demon Chase by half the track. He'd been second in the Demon Chase the year before to Coney Gree, only beaten 7 lengths, giving him £1.
Ground soft enough for him?
That's the one consideration, because I have a feeling it's not going to end up that soft. It's been dry for the last few days, even though the going stick reading has been going down day by a tick. Don't quite know why that. I mean, there hasn't been that much dew round my way, but we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm also quite interested in one right down the bottom at around 33-1 upswing of John Joe O'Neill's. Now, he's £3 out of the handicap, but I thought he ran well in that near 3.5 mile chase at Cheltenham last time, and he was one of the ones that got knocked sideways in the melee remember when the horse ran across them and
did a
load of them came down. And he ran his best race of the season last year, third time up, which is what this will be, and that was when second to Sausalito Sunrise. He went up nearly £20 in the ratings afterwards. So I think, even £3 out of a handicap, he could run well at a price. There's plenty of pace in this race, so it's going to need a horse that stays really, really well, and he's one of them. He'll be out the back early though.
Okay, Brian Shearing, what do you think is going to happen in the Hennessy?
Well, like Keely, I think can have 2 stabs at this one. I'm going to go with Vicente. I know he's just coming back for the seasonal reappearance, but I think the 4-miler nearly worked out better this year than the RSA. I know he was well beaten in the 4-miler, broke Willie Mullins' heart when winning the Scottish National. I know he's up £5, but I think I'd like 20 to 1 about Vicente. And I'm going with a bit of back form here, but Hadrian's Approach has gone well down in the handicap. But if he could run to anything near what he used to show on the track, he'd be a decent bet at around 33 to 1 or even bigger on the day. And he's just right down there at the bottom of the handicap. I know he ran a stinker at Ascot, but I think he'd come on from that. And they're the 2 that I'll be having a very small bet on in the Hennessy.
Oh, the boys fancy all these exposed horses. Frank, what do you think's going to happen now?
I really like Native River as a horse.
Hang on a second, can I just quickly, before you elaborate on that, I love the way you do that kind of sigh thing as if it's an impossible race, and then you come out with something like, I really like something, so come on.
Like, as soon as Native River, I think, beat Thomas per 2 at Newbury last year, giving him £7. I think he's getting 3 this time. So if you're back on Thomas per 2, you're mental, I think. But as soon as he crossed the line there, I was like, this is your 4-miler winner at Cheltenham. Derek O'Connor was originally jocked up. He switched to go on to Manila Rocco. I was claiming after the race that if he'd remained on Native River, he'd have been the winner. Now, Manila Rocco's not done too bad for the form. He ran very well off 155 at Cheltenham there a couple of weeks ago. I think that 4-miler will work out tremendously well. We'll get to Noble Endeavour a bit later on, but he had a lovely prep at Wetherby. I think he's the right fav. I think he's going to go close. I do agree with Paul that Upswing travelled ridiculously well at Cheltenham, and this is probably a race that will suit with all the pace on. I think he'll just be out the back and he'll creep away and he might stay on into a place. And Carl's Destre is another one that's interesting at a price. Won the London National off £2 lower last year. It's a definite stare. Another one that could pick up a place, and we're 5 places in this race as well. So if you're looking for an each-way bet, we're the place to go.
5
but
places.
Native River.
Your strategy though will be smashing up the favourite and a couple of little side orders on those outsiders you mentioned, yeah?
That's exactly it. Well, I've been tipping away at Native River for a few weeks, so
now's the time.
He'll do a bit better than Winter Escape did for me in the Great Wood.
And decent chunk there. What will the Hickey Exchequer be like on Saturday night if Native River gets it done?
Gold suit, maybe, Bruce.
Good stuff. You'll be walking up that aisle. When's the wedding?
February.
So you'll be walking up the aisle in a gold suit, and Robbie Williams doing a live performance of one of his songs. Great stuff. Okay, so that's the Hennessy done and dusted then. Let's go through the rest of the card. And obviously the big highlight on the undercard there is at 12:55, so it's a little bit too early for the Channel 4 cameras, but Thistlecrack, arguably the best horse in training, is having his 3rd crack at the larger obstacles. He faces 4 rivals, and I believe, Frank, that Paddy Power are going to go money back if you're second to the fav on all races at Newbury. So I suppose there's a bit of incentive to take him on, but really, Kills, the only way Thistlecrack doesn't win is if he doesn't jump round, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs to fall to get beat. Nobody wants to see that. I think people went miles too over the top, and you know how bad they thought he was at Cheltenham last time. He made, for me, he made one mistake. He did take off too early at a couple of open ditches, but if he'd been going at a fast racing pace, he'd have cleared him by a mile, wouldn't he? It's just one of those horses. He's so good over hurdles that he's going to be so heavily scrutinised, and before and during every single race he runs. People are trying to pick holes. Yes, he's a stupid price for the Gold Cup, but he's an extremely talented horse who, in 2 chases, has done very, very little well.
Do you think he's going to be absolutely featuring at the business end of the Gold Cup next year?
I don't know. We just have to see. I wouldn't back him. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he was easily good enough. He probably does need to be a little bit more fluent and take a few less chances, because obviously, if you come down on the back of the fence in a Gold Cup when they're going really fast and there's a big field, then there's no time for recovery. But that's still to come. He is the most talented horse in training, and we'll have to see. But I mean, if you want to do anything, it's probably account closing behaviour, but be hovering over prices for the World Hurdle just in case something goes wrong.
Fair enough. 1:30, the Sir Petro Sullivan Memorial Handicap Chase. And before we decide who's going to win, it's interesting to see that in the rough, owned by JP McManus, he's actually going to wear Petro Sullivan's colours in this race, because he was bequeathed them by the great man. So that's a nice touch, those colours that were made famous by Ativo and all those other horses. Have we got a show of betting on this one, Frank?
We don't yet, Bruce. We have Thistlecracker 1-7 in the previous race.
Okay.
And 7-1 Ibis Daru and 12-1 Big Bad John. And just for new customers opening accounts with Paddy Power through the Racing Post app, we'll give you 3-1 in free bets on Thistlecrack if he wins that race tomorrow. But we don't have prices on the 130 as yet.
Okay, so if you want 3-1 Thistlecrack, your winnings get paid in a free bet. Go on to the Racing Post app, open a Paddy Power account, have a tenner on, and if he jumps around and wins, they'll turn it into 30 quid's worth of free bets, which isn't bad. So we haven't got prices for the 130 kills, but hopefully we've got a winner.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Hugely competitive race, this. I wasn't, you just don't get used to having big field races out of the big ones, do you? Outside the big ones. But now the 17 runners, really tough. But I have a feeling Lucinda Russell's going to have a good day in the south, and I quite like Final Assault. He travelled really well first time up at Ayr, just out the back, a little bit too far out the back for my liking, to be honest. But, he came through, ran on to finish second. He ran his best race of the season last year on his second start when he absolutely bolted up. He went up, I think he went up £9 for that, but he's dropped 7 since. So he's only £2 higher. He ran on this day last year, he ran in a rehearsal chase, and he ran well, but he just didn't seem to get home. He could easily have run in the rehearsal chase off this much lower mark, but they decided to come all the way down to Newbury for a race that's a couple of furlongs shorter, and I think it'll suit him down to the ground. Final
Assault for kills in the 130 at Newbury. Let's have a look at the 240, the Jerry Fielden.
What about Frank or anyone else?
Okay. Have you got a strong view?
I have.
Go on then, Frank.
Anthony couldn't have won any easier at Ascot the last day, and that was a good race. He only got £8. I think he could have got a lot more for it. I wouldn't be giving up on him yet. I think he's one to follow till beaten. I think he'll go close, and if you want, there's going to be 17 running in that race in 4 places as well. Mystifiable is one that'll probably be a big price, and he can go well as well. Fergal O'Brien is absolutely bombing at the moment. This won on the Bride last year over course and distance off a stone lower. He disappointed subsequently, but he's very good fresh, and he's another one I can see going well in that race at a massive price.
There will be 17 runners, says Frank. We shall see. Brian, have you got a view on this race? Sorry, while I was busy ignoring you and Frank, Frank came up with a hot one. What about you?
I think Frank made a good case for Anthony, and I'd just second that, row in behind him. I think he's going to keep on creeping up the handicap, and he looked good the last day. All
right, then, 240 then, the Bet365 intermediate hurdle. Used to be known as the Jerry Fielden. Have we got a show, Frank?
We do indeed. Omessa Haas is 11-4. Ozzy the Oscar is 3-1. Who Dares Wins 4-1. The Lingney 13-2. Tommy Silver and Ritual of Senses are 8-1 and 16-1 Bar.
Disappointed to hear you say Omessa Haas first. I was hoping I'd get a bit of a price. I'll probably still end up taking 11-4 kills. Who's going to win this?
I think it's a tough race, and Omessa Haas is the one that's, sort of really unexposed. That 11-4 could be badly wrong both ways, couldn't it? Because we don't know. One run in Britain and no good at all, but finished lame by all accounts. You just have a look at Nicky Henderson's record, though. He's won it 6 times recently, 4 times with 4-year-olds. He's won it with some decent horses as well, like Lamy Serge. I haven't got a strong opinion on the race, but it wouldn't surprise me if it won.
Have you got a strong opinion on it, Frank?
I don't have a strong opinion. I thought, probably being a bit harsh in the race, I thought it was a weaker renewal than we've seen in a while.
All right, fair enough.
There has been some strong word for Omessa Haas this week, and we've seen a few bets in it. But I thought one was at a big price here, Holly Bush Henry. It kind of disappointed Cheltenham a couple of times, but it won a handicap in Musselburgh of £5 lower. It reappeared at Weatherby behind Double W's chasing a month ago. Ran okay, was giving £3, was beaten about 6 lengths. And I just thought this race wasn't the strongest looking. And at 16-1, I'd be having a few quiddy to on that.
16's okay. Well, I think we can find out right now whether WW's is Frank in that form, because I think he's in action at Newbury.
He was beaten.
Was he beat? Was he? Who won that?
Dan Skelton's Knockgraffin won by 10 lengths.
Blimey. Glad to see you concentrating on the broadcast there.
Yeah. What was the ground like? Are they finishing? Are they getting through?
Well, I watched Jenkins earlier, and he absolutely motored home.
He looked good, didn't he? Whoa, he looked very good indeed. Okay, let's get back to, what should we do, the 345? It's the Bet365 handicap for the Jim Joel Memorial Trophy. Some good old favs in here, Kills. Anything you like?
Yeah, well, I like Great Goal because he won the race last year and I backed him, and he's a bit of an old fab and he goes really, really well first time up. But I have a feeling it'll be one down the bottom or near the bottom. Another Lucinda Russell horse. I'm joking. A couple of years ago, he was very progressive, and then he sort of he had one run in about 18 months or so, and he's come back steadily this year, and he absolutely bolted up at Kelso last time. He's up a few pounds for that, but I think the way he won there and the way he jumps, be a real asset around Newbury, and I think it'd take the world to beat him.
I'm joking for Kills in 3:45. Brian, anything else at Newbury?
No, but a strong opinion on the Fighting Fifth when we come to it.
Don't worry about that. We are coming to it. Frank, anything at Newbury we've missed?
The 3:45. Again, this is one down the bottom of the handicap. Goes very well at Newbury. Has won and come second twice. Was second in the race last year off £2 lower. A horse called Whispering Harry. He might not be good enough, but the Yard had a winner yesterday and a couple of places in the last couple of days. So they're in form. This again is going to be a big price, and I'll be playing it each way. I think it could be like 12 or 14 to 1. Whispering Harry should go well. And I'm interested to see in the mayor's race, Le Bag au Roy, my French pronunciation isn't overly good, against Dusky Legend. I think she'll take the world beating in the 12:20.
12:20, well done. OK, right, well, we're itching to hear who Brian fancies in the Fighting Fifth, and we'll do that in just a sec.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav in all races at one meeting today. And at one meeting every day this month. Max £25 per race, not available in shops. 18 plus, gambleaware.co.uk.
Right then, let's look at Newcastle and the highlight of the card. Taking place at 2:55, it's the StanJames.com Fighting Fifth Hurdle and Frank Hickey. How do Paddy Power bet?
We are 9-4 Saw Royale, 5-2 Apples Jade, 11-4 Petit Mouchoir, 9-2 Irvine, 25-1 Hidden Cyclone, and 33-1 Mirsal.
Come on then, Brian, away you go.
Well, I think it's going to be back-to-back wins for Henry de Bromhead. Petit Mouchoir is going to do the business, and I think Cooper's chosen right here. It's actually interesting Apples Jade runs here, because Elliot said that she was going to be stepping up and trip after the run up north. I think So Royal is probably a deserving favourite, but just getting back to Petit Mouchoir, he's been a horse that just seems to been taking a while to learn a bit about the game. He pulled hard at the start of his career. There seems to be settling. He's actually been around the block a bit. He's with Elliot Mullins and now de Bromhead, so he's settling into a new regime with de Bromhead. He's only 5 years of age. I think you'll see a considerable amount of improvement from that WKD hurdle up the north, and I think he is the one to beat. I think 11-4. I think David Jennings actually tipped him up at 9-1 earlier last week, so anyone who got on that is on cloud 9 at the moment, but I just think Petit Mouchoir could do the business.
What's your view on Apples Jade? Because it was a really disappointing comeback, but then again, she did finish in front of Petit Mouchoir as well, didn't she? So,
yeah. Well, I think Elliot's horses have been improving for the first run, and I think he was pretty keen to quash the run, saying, he questioned the 4-year-old form, and he said that he might step her up and trip. He's a good media man. He knows how to play the game. I wouldn't be surprised if she stepped forward considerably from that as well. But I just really like Petit Mouchoir. I think it could be a Gigginstown 1-2, because I've never been a fan of So Royal. I think he doesn't do it for me. He probably is a deserving favourite on the back of those two wins, but I just think Apples Jade and Petit Mouchoir will step forward big time.
what do you think, Hills?
Yeah, well, if Apples Jade hadn't run 3 weeks ago, she'd be near enough odds on for this, wouldn't she? Because her spring form
she would be odds on.
Her spring form was fantastic. Whether she is just a spring horse and she's going to take her time to warm up, I don't know. But if I was going to have a bet in the race, it'd be her. I'd forgive her one run.
What price is she, Frank?
5-2.
Yeah, that's big enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. So well was a lot shorter earlier in the week, and she was a lot bigger. But I suppose there were doubts then about whether they were going to run or not. Now she's a runner. I mean, I think she should probably be favourite.
Frank?
It's a race I wasn't overly had an overly strong opinion on. The one thing I did think when I looked at it last night, I was thinking, if I got even money or bigger Apples Jade to beat Saw Royale in a match bet, I'd bet my mother on it. I can't see how Saw Royale can beat her based on last year. The softer ground here will definitely play to her strengths. I do think Irvine is a little bit overpriced because of all of them. He's the one horse that goes well fresh and has been targeted this for the year. This is like his Cheltenham Gold Cup, really. He's probably a little bit overpriced, but if I had to have a bet, I'd be backing Atlas Jade.
And how'd you get on with your mum?
Excellent.
Good, excellent. So it's a strong opinion then that Apple's Jade will beat So Royale, yeah?
Yeah.
Jolly good. 3:30. We've got the Rehearsal handicap chase. Any betting yet, Frank?
We do. It's 3-1 Definitely Red, 4-1 Bristol de Mai, 13-2 Virac, 6-1 Bishop's Road, 8-1 both Wakanda and No Planning, and we're 10-1 Bar.
So many fascinating races tomorrow, Kills, aren't there? And here you've got Bristol de Mai stepping up to 3 miles for the first time. Is he going to be the boss here?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I'm going to have to row in with him. This is a really competitive race, but I'm just convinced that this horse is just miles better than he was at Carlisle. He ran a similar sort of race first time up last year, where he just wasn't quite with it. But they just want to bounce him out and let him go. They held him up against CU at midnight, and I'm sure he wasn't happy. And I think even though there's a bit of pace in the race, I think it's just get him out there and let him go. He loves soft ground. To me, he shapes like he will stay. He absolutely hacked up in a Henry VIII at Sandown last year, over 2.5 mile, powered up the hill. I think he's going to be better than a mark of 154. I got massive respect for the favourite, Definitely Red, who bolted up over hurdles last time. He's a very talented horse, can clout the odd fence, but does seem to get away with it most of the time. But Bristol de Mai, I've got to row with it all the way.
I wonder if that will be getting you out of trouble or putting the icing on the cake. 3:30 tomorrow. Where do you think you'll be in terms of up or down?
I'll have one more race at Newbury to get me out of trouble. I'd expect to be up, but then I start with that sort of optimism every week.
If you're losing, or indeed if you're winning after the racing's finished on a Saturday afternoon, Kills, what do you tend to do? Draw stumps or crack on with some...
No. I draw stumps these days. I know so little about any other sport these days that I just send the pack in.
Says the man, by the way, who backed a 500-1 golfer last week, who got into playoff.
On somebody else's say-so.
Someone called Blaine Barber. Brian Shearing, have you got a view on the 3:30 at Newcastle, the Rehearsal chase?
Yeah, I think it's hard to write off Bristol de Mai after that reappearance run, just the 2-horse race. I think the price he is now is pretty fair. He's around 4-1. So I think you know what you're getting with the others. They're pretty exposed. Just interested to see Paul Townend going across Bishop's Road, former Gigginstown chaser, but I'd say he has his work cut out to get on terms with Bristol de Mai. I think I'd row in behind Paul Keeley with this one.
Righto, and what about you, Frank?
I think this is a brilliant race. Bishop's Road goes really well fresh. I agree with Brian, it's interesting Townend is riding it. He's a little bit unlucky when he unseated the first on the top. I wouldn't personally be a fan of Bristol de Mai, but this one, Definitely Red, is very well handicapped based on our Carlisle run. But I just thought 2.5 miles and a strong pace is more his thing than 3 miles. Now, I might be proved wrong tomorrow, but No Planning is really well handicapped here. He's running off 133. Jack Kennedy, who is brilliant, claims 3 off him. So he's effectively running off 130. In the last 3 years, he's won off marks of 132, 138, 130, 137 and 132. He stays all day, no problem with the ground. Sue Smith won it last year. I think she'll win it again.
What price is No Planning?
8-1.
8-1, blimey. Will he be each way or all up to win?
I'll back it each way because, like, we give Bristol de Mai, Definitely Red, and Bishop's Road. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them beat him, but No Planning's handicap to win again. So.
Okay, before we get the naps, let's see if there's anything else the boys want to put up. Kills?
No,
we'll hold fire for the nap. Brian, let's talk about Goran Park, because you've got some real good horses running there, haven't we? Who should we be backing at Goran?
Well, right from the get-go at Goran Park, it starts off at 1 o'clock, the 2-mile maiden hurdle, invitation only. He's been a horse that I've been really looking forward to seeing, and he makes his hurdles bow. He won his point-to-point, he won 2 bumpers, and the form of the bumper wins are looking brilliant at the moment. The horses just winning left, right and centre that were in behind him. I think he'll make a win and start over hurdles. He could be a Neptune horse. New to this town is an interesting rival for Jessica Harrington, but I think it's all about invitation only. Then we've got the 135, the 4-year-old novice hurdle. Got some decent horses in there. Ben Dundee, Little Stevie, Without Limits. I think Without Limits will do the business for Liz Doyle. And then moving on to the 245, 2.5-mile chase. Only 5 runners, but it's a classy bunch. To Bob for Jessica Harrington. I know he'll be suited by the small runner field. He's a bit of a nutcase, if you're to tell the truth. He likes to be running on his own. He kind of lost his form after looking really good at the start of his chase campaign last year. I think he's going to be likely to be handy along with Handicap, but I think the quicker they go at the start, the further Zabana will win. I think he's going to do the business. He's going to be another one
that brings back bad memories of trying to get out of trouble at Cheltenham, and he didn't start.
But he went on and he won his Grade 1 deservedly, and I actually spoke to Andy Lynch for the preview in tomorrow's paper, and he kind of reaffirmed my confidence in the horse. They're talking about the Lexus at Christmas already. Now, I know he's going to have to win and probably win well tomorrow to deserve a shot at that. But
what price are you hoping for Zabana?
Me?
Yeah. What are you hoping you'll be able to back
with the Bob in there and Kitten Rock and Champagne West, I think, would you get 2-1, Frank?
It's not impossible.
Okay.
I won't be compiling it, but I wouldn't think it's impossible to get 2-1. I'd agree with Brian there. I think Zabana will take a warrant of beating in that race.
Lovely. Okay, let's get the Saturday naps.
This will not be beaten.
Paul Keeley.
Right, yeah, I'm going to have a nice each way double on the two Lucinda Russell horses. Final result in the 135, and I'm joking in the 345 at Newbury, and the nap will be Final Assault.
Final Assault. Okay, Brian Shearing.
Well, I think you know what mine's going to be Zabana.
In the 245 at Goran Park.
Thinking about the 245, yes.
I don't know. I thought it was good. I would have tipped Petite Mouchoir to be on that, given your enthusiasm. But you're going for Zabana, okay?
Zabana, yeah.
And Frank Hickey, what's your nap?
Doncaster 230. Arth Thomas. I tipped him up a couple of weeks ago at Weatherby, and he ran really well to a point. He cruised the 2 out. I thought he was definitely going to win. He seemed to blow up, suggesting he needed the run. The handicappers kindly dropped him £3. He'll win tomorrow.
Have a little saver on Cornborough there. Right, okay, let's look at the Sunday stuff.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav in all races at one meeting today. And at one meeting every day this month. Max £25 per race, not available in shops. 18 plus, gambleaware.co.uk.
Hi there, it's the Racing Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, Brian Shearing, and from Paddy Power, Frank Hickey. We're looking ahead to some decent Sunday action, the highlight of which is the 220 at Navan. It's the Ladbrokes Troy Town Handicap Chase, and there are 25 runners, 11 of which are trained by Gordon Elliott. They'll run out of colours for the hats on the Gigginstown horses. Are we too early for a show, Frank?
No, we have it priced up. We're actually even money Gordon Elliott to win the race if anyone's interested. But we are 6-1 Noble Endeavour, 9-1 Sombremont, 10-1 Empire of Dirt, 12-1 both Raz de Marie and Bonnie Kate. It's 14-1 Bless the Wings, Killer Miller, Venetian de Moy, False and Blue, and 16-1 Bar.
And we'll stick with you, Frank, for a selection.
Oh, I think Native River's really well Noble Endeavour ties in with the Native River form in the 4-miler, but he's running off 141. I know he's fav, and it's not great to be tipping up a fav in a 25-runner race, but this is going to take a world of beating.
What do you reckon, Brian?
I think Dirt was going well in the race last year before falling. I think it was 3 out. He's got a lot of weight, but I think he's going to be banged there.
Sorry, you just cut out as you said the horse's name there. Go again with the horse.
Empire of Dirt.
Empire of Dirt. Jolly good.
Yeah, I just think Killer Miller is probably one of the best handicap horses, and if any money comes for him for Noel Meade, JP McManus and Barry Geraghty, I think you'd have to take note.
Okay, Kills, have you got a view on this?
Yeah, I think Empire of Dirt is a very, very talented horse, as he showed when he won at Cheltenham. I mean, Irish handicap chasers don't tend to do brilliantly at Cheltenham. They've got better over the last couple of years, but he was always in command that day. And if he truly stays 3 mile, I'm not 100% certain he does. What do you reckon, Frank?
Hello, Frank. Frank's been looking at what race is on at the moment. Frank has been watching that, punting away.
Which horse are we on about, Paul?
Empire of Dirt. Does he get?
Oh no,
does he get 3 mile?
I thought like 2.5 that time in Cheltenham was ideal for him. I wouldn't be. Like, there was a couple of times when he looked like he was going to win last year, and he just didn't quite get home.
Yeah, I mean, it worried me. Maybe a bit older, a bit stronger. I don't know, but you know, he was the one that interests me. But I am worried about the trip, especially there.
I'll tell you
one. A fair bit higher than last year too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. One that interests me in the 145 is Min, who is running over the larger obstacles for the first time, isn't he, Brian? Is he going to win? Because it's quite a hot field. There's tons of them in there. That Squawatur thing that everyone fancied at Cheltenham, that's in there as well, isn't he? What do you make of this race?
I think it's interesting, and Mullins has used it as a stepping stone for Vautour and Duvan in the past as well. So that's another interesting line. Ed Wolf might be the worst one to keep an eye on for Joseph O'Brien. he's had his jumping issues in the past, but I think if anyone is going to make him go, I think Edworth might be the one. But no, I think Min is going to be probably 1 to 4 in this.
Well, he really, even with a great big field like that. Kills, do you think Min can go on to become... I mean, one of the races that is shaping up to be half decent, even though it's extremely early, is the Arkle, isn't it? Would you have Min as a rival to Altior at this early stage?
Well,
or do you want to see him jump a fence first?
Altior fairly thrashed everything in that Supreme last year. He's a very, very good horse. Obviously, Min's only had 3 starts, so he could continue to improve. And if he jumps well, he'll be some sort of threat. But I think Altior might be a little bit special.
Okie doke. Let's get a Sunday best bet from the boys over in Ireland. Brian, you start off.
If he was even money or anything above it, I think Death Duty will win the Monksfield, the 12.40.
The 12.40, okay. And Frank, what about you?
Noble Endeavour in the Tri-Town. His handicap mark is very, very good, and he'll take a lot of beating.
Okay, Kills, have you scoured the British cars?
No, I haven't.
Mares race at Carlisle, isn't
not
it?
had time yet. The Mares race doesn't look particularly good.
Okay.
Either, so.
Well, there's plenty of tips going on there, so that should do you. What are you doing this weekend, Kills?
At least I'm going to check the rotor, because last week I just sat here and said I've got no plans at all, and then about 10 to 12, I got a phone call and said, Kills, you're supposed to be working today.
But you do the rotor,
yeah, I know.
You?
Yeah. So I just cocked the whole thing up. I had to drive. I was around a mate's house. I had to drive home. When I got home, I realised I hadn't had my house keys, so then I had to find my daughter who'd gone shopping and then get back in and start work. So, I am working tomorrow. I am running a poker tournament in the local club tonight.
Oh, yeah. How many players?
Yeah, there'll be about 25, 30.
Have any of them got
like
nicknames?
Yeah, but not repeatable ones.
Nothing to do with their poker
Nothing
skills.
to do with cards. Yeah.
What's the first prize there?
I don't know. It depends on how much money we
Roughly?
get in. I don't know, because there'll be loads of buy-ins. Everyone bets like loonies.
Would you be favourite?
So, depending on how much I drink, so probably not.
Okay, so that's that. And then working tomorrow, did you say?
Working tomorrow.
And Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday, rest day.
Jolly good. Kills are brilliant tips. That management lark, it just still, the penny hasn't really dropped with it, has it? Only Kills could rotor himself, do the rotor, think he's off, and then find out he's working. Brian, what's the rotor got in store for you this weekend? You grafting?
I'm grafting, yeah, as always. And I think I'm the new shift all weekend, so I'll be sitting at home watching racing, writing all weekend, so wouldn't have it any other way, I suppose. But no big plans. Probably make it down to the local for Saturday night.
Break us some big stories. And Frank, what about you, mate?
I'm working tomorrow, but I'm supposed to be heading out for the rugby after work. Hopefully it'll be a bit less of a wild night than last Saturday night, because Sunday and Monday were 2 of the toughest days I've ever put down.
Well, what happened? You were playing hurling last week, weren't you?
Oh, the match actually ended up getting cancelled, so the hurling was replaced by drinking.
Oh, really?
and after that, some different hurling.
Yeah. I was very nearly divorced before I was even married.
Oh my goodness, really? Oh no. Can you tell us any more gory details, or would you rather leave it there?
Let's just say I could have went to Portugal for a week for what I spent on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Fantastic.
Mind you, drink is expensive over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that place called? Is it Café on Seine?
Yeah.
Oh, I went there once. A round of drinks. It was phenomenal. Absolutely.
I'd say 3 pints, you probably get no change out of €20.
Oh, well, it was worse than that. And funny enough, I was with these boys and they were drinking something called dum-dums, which involved about 3 different pieces of glassware, all sorts of purple, viscous liquid. It was absolutely revolting. And, never mind, no change out of €20, no change out of 100 for them. There you go. Right, okay. Drink sensibly, bet sensibly, and hopefully you've tipped a few winners there. If you like the Racing Postcast, do please join us on Monday. And also, go across to iTunes, subscribe and rate us. That would be fantastic. Cheers very much for listening.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They prize support UK and Irish racing the night before.